your center for implants, that I guess correct me if I'm wrong. So how dental implants are typically done is in two places. You go to one place that they do the surgery, then you go to another doctor that puts the teeth on top, and oftentimes even go somewhere else to get them maintained, cleaned up and things. You do both parts.
Right.
So is that why you're able to do it faster?
Not only that's the way we can do it faster, but we can also make it less expensive for the patients.
Because you said you're less than the big guys. You told me in the green room.
Because we put everything as a bundle. Okay. A lot of these things is a surgical procedure, so it is my time, it is a surgery, and as I talk to patients sometimes, whether I've taken 5 teeth out or 10, it's the time, so it doesn't matter. And that way we can put everything in place. And at the end, I'm the one who's responsible for everything, and I know how to plan it. And then we go from the beginning to end for the patients. It makes them, and the reason I started is because patients are, oh, can you do that yourself? Why aren't you doing that yourself? So we did all the training.
So it's one doctor, one fee.
One doctor, one fee. And I think that's also a good question that you brought up, because it is something that, makes people a little bit frustrated, because a lot of times they call in, they want to know what the procedure is or how much it is, and they're quoted different prices. Our price and our procedure is all inclusive. So you
got to see them first.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have to know. We have to kind of take a look at under the hood to see what is involved, what the problems are, what are the challenges, and basically talk to the patients and figure out what fits them, what suits them the most, and what is the one size fits all doesn't really. Not the best thing to do in these cases.
What do these patients like more? The way it looks, or all the things that they can eat that they couldn't eat before?
I would say when they come in first, it's usually 50-50.
Okay.
Right? Some people come in, it's like, I want to chew, I don't know what it is, but everybody wants to chew steaks.
Okay.
Okay. I haven't seen that many vegetarians, right? They already want to see eat their steaks. But there are female patients usually want to see more aesthetic, okay?
They want more into the pretty smile.
They want things to be, I'm tired of my smile. I want to be able to smile without feeling self-conscious or not confident about my smile. So we have both of those. But at the end, when everything is done, we know in our office, and I know that patient who was most concerned about function, they still want it to look nice. So we'll make sure that both of those aspects are done and finished.
You say they smile more.
Absolutely.
They start getting compliments.
Really? When you feel good, you're going to show it. And that's what's going to show it in their smile.
Yeah, but if you have gum disease, periodontal disease, the bleeding gums and all that stuff, can you still get implants or no?
Those are our most successful patients. Okay.
How so?
Well, let me tell you something. The way that we train in dental school, I think, is maybe the problem here, because we went to dental school to become the captains of the teeth, the captains of the mouth. You got to save your teeth no matter what the cost.
Okay.
But early on, I learned sometimes if you wait for that infection to keep on going, you're fighting an uphill battle. The patient gets frustrated, the doctor gets frustrated, and you end up with much more bone loss and much more trouble for the patient.
Because the infection, what, spreads?
The infection keeps getting worse.
And killing other teeth.
When I tell patient, one of the things I tell my patients is that, hey, I mean, I don't even know what gangrene is, but I heard that if you have gangrene, you got to cut it off. If you have gangrene on your toe, right?
Okay.
You don't wait until it creeps up to your ankle and to your knee and above. You just got to cut it off and get the disease out of there. Okay. Just before I came in, I worked on one patient like that, and a very young man. He's in late 40s age. He had perfect set of teeth, not even a cavity, but all of the teeth were periodontially involved. He had actually lost one tooth.
And they get like loose, is that right?
They get very loose, and by then the disease is so much that it's not really a good thing to try to keep those teeth. The longer you try to keep those teeth, the worse it becomes.
So his option was dentures.
The option was even denture, and you do not want to be a denture, a patient at such a young age, because unlike what denture patients think, once you take those dentures in, the bone is going to gradually go away. You're going to lose bone, and what you could do today, it's not going to be as easy as it is, 10 or 20 years down the road. So if you have bad gums, if you have bleeding gums,
so
if
you
you have
clean
bad
up the
breath,
infection, and they get great gums again?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, in this case, a patient, for example, we cleaned the teeth out, and when he came back a few weeks later for us to look to see if we were ready to place the implants, gums look healthier, he looks better, everything looked better.
So no more dentures.
No more dentures.
Look, do you think, I think we talked about this on the phone, if everybody in Massachusetts decided, all the denture wearers, people that have really, if they all knew the benefits of dental implants, you said there's not even enough dentists to help these people.
As I said, well, we talk about, in Massachusetts at least, we're talking about 2-3 million people, maybe, 1 million people, maybe. Or even if you talk about just people who have no teeth at all, just full dentures, you're looking at least 500, 200,000 people.
You say you might give somebody a brand new set of teeth or fix something about their smile that they hated, and they start acting differently. Really?
Absolutely. I think one of the things we see in patients, that's what they tell us, is that patients who have bad teeth, they're not going to smile. We talked about George Washington a little bit. During his later years in life, he didn't speak much because he didn't like his teeth. Okay, so there's a little secret. There's a little masking. There's a little bit of a you cannot let yourself out of your skin a little bit.
Because they don't smile.
Because that is almost a barrier. Okay, once that barrier is done, what that problem is done.
Once you fix it.
And once we fix that for them, now all of a sudden there's a little bit of a crack, there's a little opening in the shell, and a whole new person comes out of there, and their self-confidence improves, they feel better, and usually when you feel better and your self-confidence, you're a whole different person.
You say, and we talked about in the green room actually, that people with bad teeth are judged, or you get the wrong impression. Elaborate on that.
We're always grown up with this expression, don't judge a book by its cover. But all the research and everything shows that you make your decision up about the person that you meet within the 3 or 5 seconds of the first impression is whatever counts. And if someone has a better smile, has a kind personality, or their enthusiasm shows in their face, you're automatically attracted to those people, okay? And we also have seen through Hollywood, if you want to show somebody who's not the brightest of the kids or the brightest of the character, they always have a little bit of a mismatched teeth, darker colored teeth.
Like a missing tooth.
Like a missing tooth, buck teeth,
So
things that are teeth that are arranged.
The poor people in the movies usually have bad teeth. So we may assume, what you're saying is we're associating
the perception, unfortunately, that is, even though we grow up to not judge a book by its cover, but the perception is there. Even the kids know it. I mean, most of the cosmetic cases that I do on my older patients are the ones who come in and say, I don't want my teeth. And so, why? Well, my grandchild told me, Grandpa, you got really ugly teeth, or why your teeth are so yellow. I even had one of my patients who was telling me that when the husband took his dentures out, it almost traumatized their grandchild for the first time, seeing that the grandpa's teeth came out. You know? It's runs the whole gamut. It's amazing how we are taught a certain way, but the perception is different. And I'm sure, I even talked to you about myself.
Yeah. When
I broke a tooth when I was a young kid, I was afraid. I didn't want to play sports because I didn't want that ball to hit me and lose my front tooth. And so it's definitely holds you back. It becomes a barrier. And once that barrier is done and you feel better and the problem is fixed, you're a whole new person.
Now, is this true? On the day of the procedure, on the actual procedure, they can literally come in with no teeth and walk out with teeth?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Is that common?
Yeah.
Uncommon?
As we talked about, it depends on many cases. It depends on where they started from, where they're coming with problems, and where they are in the procedure. But many cases with patients that are already wearing dentures, we can place the implants for them and their teeth, and they can walk out of the office with set of teeth and start chewing and eating. No problem at all.
We are out of time. Final message. Somebody watching this, and they're of the two categories. They either have really bad teeth and they feel like they're going to end up in dentures. They don't want those.
Absolutely.
Or the denture wearers. They've heard what you had to say today, but maybe they're still afraid or skeptical. What do you say to them?
Pick up that phone, give us a call, let us have a consultation with you. Let's see what we can do for you.
Okay.
And at least know your options.
Good. Did they get to see you?
Absolutely. Yes, I'm there for every patient.
So know your options.
Know your options. Yes. You don't have to jump in right away. You don't have to make a decision right away, but at least you know options. Okay. And sometimes ignorance is not a bliss.
Okay.
And we always say that ignorance is a bliss, but ignorance is not a bliss. If you at least know what is there, what we can do, help you, you can make a better decision.
Now, we haven't talked a lot about sedation, but most of these people are sedated, they're numbed up, so that's not a big issue for these people.
No, I would say with that, in our office, it's probably 50-50. Some people want to be sedated, some people don't want to remember anything about the procedure. But when we do the procedure, you're numb. You're not going to feel anything at all.
Okay, good.
And it depends on the patients. We give that option to the patients, absolutely.
Now, Medicaid doesn't cover this. Medicare doesn't cover it. Great dental insurance covers like a super small portion. You say people are financing.
Absolutely. We have many different options for financing for patients. Some people might even use their 401k get a loan like that. Every patient is different. We work with everyone and provide them the best options. And whenever they're ready, we can get the treatment done for them.
All right. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks. You've been watching the Wellness Hour, news that makes you healthier. I'm Randy Alvarez. For now, I wish you good health.
Thanks for watching the Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news with your host, Randy Alvarez, the authority on health issues.